I saw what was in my student's backpack, and it almost gave me a heart attack. I was lucky enough to have my daughter in my class this year. As a high school teacher for over a decade, I've seen it all, but having your own child in your classroom changes everything. You notice things differently, like how Tyler would constantly stare at my daughter from across the room. Tyler was that student every teacher dreads, disruptive, confrontational, and with a file of disciplinary reports thick enough to be a textbook. I'd moved him to the front row weeks ago after catching him passing notes with explicit drawings to the girls in class. Last Thursday, he begged to move back to his original seat. Something in his eyes seemed different, almost desperate. Against my better judgment, I agreed, thinking maybe he was finally making an effort. 20 minutes into silent reading, I heard whispers from the back corner. I glanced up to see Tyler showing something to the boy next to him. From my angle, all I could make out was what looked like black metal partially wrapped in a cloth. My blood ran cold. Was that a pistol? I couldn't be sure from where I sat. Maybe it was just a phone in a case, but the way he was handling it secretively, with a strange smile on his face, my teacher instincts were screaming danger. I casually stood up, pretending to help a student with their assignment. As I moved through the rows, I got a clearer view. It wasn't a phone. The distinctive shape of a handgun grip was unmistakable. My hands started trembling so badly I had to shove them in my pockets. Sweat beaded on my forehead as I returned to my desk, my eyes constantly darting to my daughter, 3 rows away from Tyler. My mind raced through emergency protocols, but they all seemed inadequate for the reality unfolding in my classroom. I texted our school resource officer, "Emergency, weapon in room 216, not drill." Then I called over Megan, a senior who sat near my desk. "Ask to use the bathroom," I whispered, sliding her a note that read, "Find Officer Davis immediately. Show him this text. Do not return to class." Her eyes widened, but she nodded and left without a word. Those next 7 minutes were the longest of my life. I kept teaching, voice surprisingly steady while my insides twisted with terror. My daughter caught my eye. She knew something was wrong. I subtly motioned for her to stay put. Finally, a knock at the door. Officer Davis entered casually, chatting about an upcoming assembly. He made his way toward Tyler, asking him about the basketball game last night. "Hey Tyler, can I see you in the hall for a sec?" he asked. His tone friendly, but his eyes hard as steel. As Tyler stood, backpack in hand, and walked past my daughter, I held my breath. The moment he stepped into the hallway, there was a commotion. The sound of the backpack hitting the floor and bodies against lockers. Later, we learned Tyler had brought it to scare a student who'd been dating his ex-girlfriend. The weapon was loaded. That night, I held my daughter longer than I had since she was small. Neither of us said much, but now I check backpacks at the door.